So I was raised in a small town in northern Wyoming, the least populated county in the least populated state of the nation. There are 3,000 people in my whole county. And I grew up there, gave my life to the Lord when I was 3, felt a call to be a missionary when I was 5. But I was in a church that didn't really believe in that. They didn't believe that females could be called into ministry. So I studied the Bible and went to church like everybody else, but that ended up getting kicked out of church when I was in high school. My whole family, we got kicked out. We weren't very good for that church. We just kind of believed different things. And while I was growing up, my mom had been a witch before she had come to the Lord. And so growing up in our household, we had interesting things that would happen. My closet door would open and close and open and close. And I've seen things get up and float across a room. And when you're 6 years old, you don't really have a theoretical conversation on whether or not there's darkness or bad things in the world. It's just there. So my mom taught us how to deal with that at a young age. So Jesus was very real for me at a young age because I needed Jesus to be real. I just had to deal with life, and that was really important. The church that we went to didn't agree with that kind of a thing. For them, it was still in the conversation, the theoretical, the idea space. So, reality trumps theory. And like I said, we got kicked out. It didn't end well. I go to college, and then in college, I was planning to be a high school teacher. I was going to be a high school chemistry teacher, or I was going to be a botanist in Antarctica. That was also what I tried to do. But the Lord shut all of those doors and called me into ministry like he was actually serious about that when I was younger. So these plans and these dreams that I had for my life, they didn't work out. And he called me back into ministry. And that was strange because I was in a wilderness ministry. So I was a backpacker, a technical rock climber, high altitude mountaineer. And I would take people into the wilderness, and we would have just great conversations and explore who we were and what does it mean for our life, and how do I live in community with people and not kill them when we've been backpacking and carrying 80-pound packs for 40 days. That'll bring up all of your stuff in your life. And so it's just a great space to work through that and talk about that and build relationships in the middle of that. So that's what I did for 15 years as a mountain guide and helped run this ministry. Then I left that because I felt like I was supposed to. I got a master's in there, in the brain, somewhere in there. But then I went into the corporate world and also did the whole, what is it like to change? What is it like to grow in the corporate world? So I did that for 3 years, and I thought I was going to stay there. I thought I was going to be just in business and help businesses work and help businesses run better. When someone in denominational leadership came and found me and recruited me into back into ministry. But I've been a nun, I've been a done. I'm still, I work hard to go to church once a month. But it's just been a zigzag of a journey, not a straight line. So every dream I had for my life did not work out. Instead, God gave me different dreams. He gave me bigger things. His plans were much cooler for me than my plans were for myself. So I don't really have future plans. I don't have career ambitions. Just kind of on the train, riding along, seeing where it goes. So I'm just really interested in the journey. I don't really need a destination. I just kind of want to enjoy the ride. So most of the time these days, I spend a lot of time having conversations with people, whether that's one-on-one on the phone or on a web call or sitting with people. I'm in meetings, so I sit on boards and I'm in groups. And so conversation is what it looks like. I have to, do mundane things like emails and writing a newsletter or writing up a plan or writing a job description for something. But mostly I just try to be present where I'm at in the space and the people that I'm with. So whatever the task is or the people are at hand, my goal is to be present in that situation and with those people. I think that's the best thing that we can give one another. Like, the greatest gift I can give someone else is my attention and my focus and my presence. So even though I do a lot of different tasks and a lot of them are very boring, pretty much anything I do it's just unsexy. There's nothing sexy about what I do, except for 5 minutes when you're up on a platform, but then that's super exhausting and that's not sexy either. So I really like hanging out with people and having conversations and seeing what's happening in their life and hearing their story. I think it's a privilege for someone else to tell you their story and like let you be part of that, even if it's for a half an hour. So that's why I try to give them the gift of just being present. I can't help but see patterns. It just kind of comes, like, some people can hear music and know the notes and how it goes. I can see interactions and see patterns in those, like reading a book. And I see God doing some really interesting things that make me super excited. I believe that all roads lead to Jesus, but that those paths look different. So when I hang out with my friends who are Buddhist, or I hang out with my friends who are agnostic, or my friends that are New Age, and I listen to what's going on in their life and what are they struggling with, or how are they making meaning of what they're looking at right now. So how are they trying to navigate what's in front of them, and what are the questions they're asking? I see people coming to a place where they're really tired of being told what to do, and they really just want someone to walk with them. I see people who have left kind of being this like talked down to, preached at, parented and just like they were 3. People leave those environments and they don't want that anymore. But they do want to be with one another. They do want to be listened to. They do want to be They want to learn from other people's experience, but not in a degrading kind of way. So when I see that, I see people that are ready to join with one another and explore what life has to offer. And that makes me excited, because I think that together we're actually much smarter, we're much more capable. We can solve wicked problems. We can do that when we're together, when we're not competing with one another, but we're complementing one another. Then we can address what the things are that are in front of us in this world. I also see that God is really changing what He's willing to put up with. And He's revealing to us what we think. So I think everybody's being called on Sorry. And I believe that hypocrisy is being laid bare. I think that all of our hypocrisies and where we say one thing and we do another, that's really being revealed. And so what we actually believe is being revealed to ourselves and everyone else. And that's why it's so gross and messy right now. So it's like the part in the wilderness where you've been backpacking for a week and you haven't slept, and you're tired of the way somebody else is making the food because they just use too much salt or something, and you're just done getting along because you know you've got 30 more days. And so something's gotta change. And all of that pain or that frustration you've been stuffing down is just coming up, and you're gonna have the fight, and you're gonna do it. And I feel like that's where society is at right now. All that stuff we've been squishing down is coming up and being exposed, and we're gonna have to deal with it. We have to deal with ourselves, and you can't get around that anymore. So that makes me hopeful, because on the other side of that, we can get to honest, healthy, and authentic healthy. So everybody thinks education is gonna save everything, and I don't believe that. As a brain scientist who studies how the brain learns and helps design curriculum and organizations to facilitate learning, education's not going to save us, because you can't get beyond your own prejudices and you can't get beyond your own biases. So just learning more information goes into a black hole, and we still do exactly what we're going to do. We behave the way we're going to behave. And just because we know it's wrong or we know we should do something different, it doesn't change us. Information doesn't change who we are. Our brains are designed to have different types of long-term memory, and one of those types of long-term memory is that information memory, the Jeopardy facts, the data, the things that you've memorized, and that's stored in a different place than the long-term memory that is of your story and of your life. It's called your autobiographical memory. And your autobiographical memory is like integrated into your person, right? It's connected with your heart rate and your breathing rate. It's connected with your morality and your empathy. And this type of long-term memory is the only kind of long-term memory that projects into the future, which means it's the only it's the only memory system that looks into the future and says, oh, here's how I might make a choice, or here's how I might behave. Your memory, your long-term memory system that holds the data and the information and the facts can't do that. It's like saying, Abraham Lincoln is the 16th president of the United States. Now apply that to your future. So you can't. So when you just have information, it's literally biologically the wrong memory system for applying to your life. So it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't do anything. It actually just kind of like puffs you up, and you think you're smart, or you think you know stuff, but your life you'll never be able to walk it out. So if we actually want to change people, we actually want to change our world, we actually want to change our own life, then we have to do the autobiographical memory, which is your story, which is your journey, which is life, which is experience, which is all the hard stuff. It's the hard stuff of walking through it and figuring it out, and that the only way to get there is to walk it. You can't, in mountaineering world, there's some saying, you can't just take the elevator to the top of the mountain. You actually have to climb it step by step by step. And everybody wants to shortcut through education, but you can't. You got to go there one foot at a time. And you got to earn every one of those miles. So I have a website called Your Brain by Jess, and I have lots of different things in there. It's also my Twitter handle is Your Brain by Jess. I do neuroscience, I do discipleship, I write about leadership development across the generations, how the generations can work with one another, because the way that they see the world is a little different. So it's kind of like a cultural broker, getting people to work together and hear each other, not misinterpret each other, believe the best in one another instead of believing the worst. That's always a hard thing to do. Oh, Jesus. Sounds like a cuss word when I say it like that. Jesus is my home. I don't know why that gets me. In my home, I was never seen. Hang on, I can get this. My mother is, hang on. Sorry. In my home, I had my brother is bipolar, and he was abusive to us growing up. My sister is a fragile diabetic, and my mom had a brain tumor when I was very young, so she spent my childhood recovering from that. And so nobody was there to take care of us. That was my responsibility, or at least I took it on as my responsibility. My dad was earning money, trying to support all of us, and that's a huge task. And so nobody was there to take care of us. Nobody was there to raise us. But Jesus was. And so he's not just like this guy that modeled a good life or has great sayings. I mean, I read the Bible, and it's not like, I've read the Quran, I've read The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and there are great books that have great advice in them and in sayings that are worth living your life by. But Jesus isn't that to me. Jesus is this person who lived my life with me. And I can't replace that. I can't explain that away. I can't contain that in a sermon or even a book. He's like my best friend. He's my father. He's my confidant. He's my home. And I wouldn't be here without him. Literally.